This is the 2024 Lexus RX 450H Plus, and surprisingly, it's as quick as the quickest RX by a hair, despite Lexus claiming that its RX500H F-Sport takes that crown. And it does so with less power and way better fuel economy. But at what cost? Today I'm going to review it and find out if it's worth those extra pennies. So the RX has been completely redesigned, and the most notable difference is at the front. So always a statement piece, Lexus has redesigned the front grille, the massive front grille. It's still as in-your-face as it ever was. They've also redesigned these front lights. They've got an L-shaped signature. Now this one has the triple beam headlights as an option. You'll also see that the windshield is more raked, but it does retain this floating style roof. Then at the rear, the continuous light bar theme continues here, and then the Lexus spelt out in the middle. And then here you get the name badge, which is RX450H Plus. The plus means plug-in hybrid, and of course it's all-wheel drive thanks to the rear electric motors. So dimensions-wise, it's a little bit larger. The wheelbase has been stretched by 2.4 inches, and then as you can see at the back, the rear overhang is slightly shorter. Now the old long wheelbase version 3-row has been fired and has been replaced by the Lexus TX. So since all RX hybrids are luxury trim, you get a powered tailgate and a kick sensor. So in the back you get a pretty decent amount of cargo space. And then you can use these two buttons here to fold the second row down or lift them back up. You also get some power as well. That gives you a pretty decent 46 cubic feet. Then under here you get a 110 volt charger. Take a while, a little bit more storage space under here and no spare. So on the plug-in hybrid model you get these specific 21-inch wheels. They look pretty good. Bridgestones, not my favorite tire, but they'll do for this car. They're 235/50s all around. They are run flats. They also are very comfortable as well, which is the main purpose of this luxury SUV. So Lexus gives you a lot of options when it comes to powertrains. The entry-level 350 is a turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. It's got 275 horsepower, 317 foot-pounds of torque driven through an 8-speed automatic transmission. So next up is the hybrid version. It's got a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine driven through a CVT transmission. 2 electric motors at the front, 1 electric motor at the rear. Combined output, 246 horsepower, 233 foot-pounds of torque. And then finally this one, the one with the most complicated name, basically is the same powertrain as in the NX version of the plug-in hybrid. It's got a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated 4, helped along with an electric motor at the front, and then a second electric motor at the rear, gives you a combined output of 304 horsepower. Lexus don't give us any torque figures for that one, and it's driven through a CVT transmission. So that 304 horsepower gives it a 0 to 60 time of 5.8 seconds, which surprisingly is exactly the same as the 500 F-Sport version of the RX. So go figure. This one is more economical though, because it'll do 36 highway, whereas that 500 F-Sport will do 28 highway. And of course this one has a EV only range of 37 miles. So how much is it? Well, not surprisingly, the quickest and the most electrified version of this RX is also the priciest. It starts at, in its one trim luxury, at about $68,700, but this one's got a whole bunch of other stuff. It's got a panoramic sunroof, it's got a Mark Leveson sound system, which is really good. It also has those triple beam headlights and that rear hatch that's power operated and a kick sensor as well. So that takes the price to over $75,000, some $6,300 more than the 500 F-Sport model. Wow, these seats are really nice. I've sat in some really comfortable back seats before, but these are really nice. And you do have electric control here, so you can slowly put the seat back if you want, if you're on a longer journey. Plenty of leg room. Decent headroom for me. Got the panoramic sunroof that sort of gets in the way and lowers this a little bit. Got a nice quality armrest, a little bit of space under here to store stuff, and then a really cool mechanism for your cup holders. You also get sunshades for a hot day, obviously not today. And then these door openers take a little bit of getting used to. Everybody seems to be going towards these electronic ones. So you just basically click that to open the door. There's nothing really to pull. Just get this little holder here behind the seat for stuff. And then backseat passengers also get 2 sets of power, their own vents, and heated and cooled seats. So you also have the ability to move the passenger seat forward and back, and also adjust the backrest from these buttons right here. I'm not quite sure why you would need that, but it's a feature. Honestly, I would be perfectly happy in these back seats for quite some time. You certainly can't fault a Lexus interior. These seats are a massive improvement over the old RX. Everything is beautifully made. Alcantara, you got a Mark Levinson speaker right here. Steering wheel, it's okay, we'll go into that later on. It's not my favorite feature of the car, but yes, these seats are really nice. And the quality, every single piece, even below the knee, you've got some really high quality plastics. Right, so what's good and what's bad about the interior? What's good first is you get a 14-inch touchscreen. Massive improvement. The stupid little controller down here is gone. If you order one of the 350s, the lower models, then it's a 9.8-inch screen. It's fast. We've played around with this particular infotainment screen and the software in various other Toyota models, and it works great. I would prefer a manual control or rather a physical control for the fan. You sort of got to slide it, a bit difficult as you're going along, but you can basically pair your phone real easily. There's some settings within the system. You can see your seat controls. You can fold all your seats if you want to. Driving assist, trip information, energy flow, charging schedule, tire pressures, vehicle alerts, etc. You can put it into sport mode. I haven't tried that. We are going to drive it in a minute, and we'll see what it's like. So down here you've got some pretty cool looking air vents and park assist and your view 360 view surround sound camera system. Below that you've got a really nice rubberized mat. You could store stuff in there. You can put your phone in there if you want to. It's grippy and it's canted forward, so if you accelerate it doesn't fly all over the place. And then you've got 2 USBs right there. Underneath here you get a couple of USBs. You've got a nice little rubberized little storage space right there, and then a Wi-Fi charger which charges through my phone. 2 decent cup holders, and my favorite part about the cup holders is you push this button right here and the cup holder rises up if you have a really small cup. Lexus also uses its really great system where you can open this from both sides. Once it's open, there is a ton of room. In the center console, what I don't like is this particular design here, this wood design. I think you can change it, you can choose a different one. What you can't change though are these piano black buttons. I wish they were sort of more matte black. So I'm not a big fan. The wheel is nice, it's really nice and small, but I don't like this sort of fake wood. It's just hard. Why can't you just have a normal steering wheel with this leather covered all the way around? The other odd thing is the steering wheel buttons, there's no labels. So the tooltips, when you touch these, the tooltips either appear in the head-up display, which I turned off because every time I accidentally touched this, the head-up display would display this weird zone right here with all these different buttons, and it kind of got annoying. So I went into settings and I turned that off. So now, when you touch that, it shows you the different settings and you moving around the controls. And the same on the other side of the steering wheel. You can change everything, and they're sort of capacitive touch buttons. It would take a little bit of a learning curve to memorize where your thumb needs to go exactly, and it's a bit laggy, but you can program a second layer of controls to kind of put your most used functions at your fingertips. It's slightly annoying at first, but I think I would probably get used to it once I personalize the vehicle more to my taste. All right, let's take it for a drive. I'm gonna hit the Auto EV button. That will allow us to use the 30 miles of EV range and get maximum performance out of this car. All right, let's get going here. Put it in sport mode. Weirdly, there isn't a button for sport mode anywhere other than digging into the dash there, so. All right, so it's a pretty rough road. So this thing is a lot quicker than you would expect. I mean, I drove the RAV4 Prime. That has the same powertrain. I've driven the NX with the same powertrain. I mean, this thing is quick. And it's odd that it's quicker than the RX500H F-Sport, because Lexus claims that that is their fastest RX. Wow. Anyway, we're in sport mode here, and even though this road is more pitted than a teenager's face, it is quite comfortable, but it feels quite planted on this bit of road. The steering is heavier, also going uphill. Engine kicked in there, it can't always be using EV. Now you can do that 37 miles of EV range until that runs out, and then it goes into a normal hybrid mode. So really, I mean, if you commute, and your commute isn't that far, less than 40 miles or so, you're probably not going to use gas very often. There's that gas engine kicking in there. So we've driven maybe 2 miles. We started off with 30 miles of EV range. Now we've got 28. All right. Passing cars with this amount of torque, not even a problem. This thing goes. And then in the turns, it feels somewhat un-Lexus-like. I mean, in terms of for their non-sporty cars, it holds the road really well, despite wearing these Bridgestones. And we're going uphill right now, and it's pulling like a train, so I'm quite impressed with its abilities. Into a sort of lower speed bend, and it does really well. No real signs of understeer either. That rear electric motor keeping everything in order in the all-wheel drive system. I am suitably impressed with what this car can do. I haven't driven the F-Sport yet. Most F-Sport Lexuses, particularly the SUVs, don't feel particularly sporty, so I'm not quite sure how much better it could be than this one. So much torque. Now when you really push hard on the gas and that little 4-cylinder has to kick in, it does get a little bit noisy. I mean, Lexus does a pretty good job of controlling noise and vibration and any harshness, but you do hear it. Yeah, it really does. It's scything through these turns so much quicker than you would expect. Now, one thing that I'm not too keen on, and it happens a lot with hybrid brakes, they got regen in them, regenning back to the battery. There's no feel on these things. They're just kind of weird. It's almost like the sensation of like pushing your foot into like a bowl of beads or something. It just doesn't have a lot of pedal feel. But they work, so as long as they bring the car to a halt, that is all I care about. I mean, that transition from going over a little hump bridge to a sharp right-hand turn maintained its composure without a problem. Now, I started out with a full tank, and I've done probably 65 miles so far, and the fuel gauge hasn't moved. And I am very impressed with the quality of the materials in this car. It's, gosh, I want to say it's almost like better than an Audi. And they're pretty up there for the quality. It's not perfect, but it's very nice. It does everything that anybody would need it to do. So what do we think? Well, the Lexus RX 450h Plus is a very compelling luxury SUV, plug-in luxury SUV. It's got great electric range. It looks really cool from the outside. It's got a beautiful interior, and it's a really, really comfortable and nice drive. The only problem it has is it is a little bit expensive. Once again, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time with another video. Out.